Me inspiró mucho el libro de Nico, entonces me parece muy bien que él fue antes de yo. Hola a todos, hay muchos amigos acá y un gusto ver todo. Gracias por venir. Esta es una charla de Onchain Music Agents. Oh yeah, we're talking in English in this one, right? Okay, cool. Switching to English. Hi everybody. This is a talk for on-chain music agents. As I just said, Nico's book inspired me a lot, and so it makes sense that that talk came right before this, because a lot of what he wrote planted the seeds for what I'm doing. Eso. Okay, introduction. What we're going to be talking about, if you're showing up, this is what I'm hoping you can leave with at the end of this. The changing landscape of music creation and distribution. The key theme is that your job is not going to be taken by AI. It's going to be taken by someone that's using AI. Let's ask the same question we asked in the panel. Who here is using AI on a daily basis? Who here in their work is using AI on the daily basis? ¿Quién en su trabajo está usando IA en su diario? Okay, you with your hands up right now are the people everybody else is fearing. Everybody is afraid of getting their jobs taken by you, and so if you're already using AI in your work, congrats, take a deep breath. You've already positioned yourself well to be in front of this revolution that's coming. If your hand is down, look to the people beside you who just had their hands up and try to understand and ask them questions. How are you using AI on a daily basis? Because your job is not going to be replaced by AI. It's going to be replaced by someone that's using AI. And the last one, if you're working in music, how can you adapt and thrive with what's going on? Who am I? I'm Sweetman. You can call me Sweets. I'm the dev for Onchain Music. I ship a lot of code, so that's my GitHub. You can see every green dot is when I ship code, and the intensity of green is how much I ship. So you can see there's only a couple days when I don't. This was when I went on vacation with my family, and this was like Christmas Day maybe I took off, but outside of that, I ship a lot. Open source everything. So if you scan that QR, you'll go to my GitHub, where you can find all the music products I've been building over the past 5 or 10 years, entirely open source for free for anybody to use. So scan that if you want any of the code I've been writing. Okay, before we start, most important question. We're going to come back to our bones real quick. This is physical right now, but it's metaphorical and for how we're asking questions. MIQ is a mental model I've been taking myself on, and we talked about it in the last one. What is the most important question in your head right now? So we're going to start with your body. 2 bones I like to focus on are your feet and your hips. So if you're sitting, try to visualize your big toe and your second toe, tu dedo gordo y tu dedo segundo. Enfocar allá y presionarlo para enlargar esos huesos. We're going to press into our first 2 bones to extend those bones. Press there, take a couple deep breaths till we get to like 3 breaths. Then you're going to slowly transition your weight into the outer bones as you wrap your fibula back, locking yourself and rolling down into bracing well into like well-planted foot in the ground. Active foot is focusing on your 2 main bones, dedo gordo y dedo segundo. Stable foot is pulling that fibula back, focusing on your 2 outer toes, and then finding that root in the ground. Then we'll come into your sitting bones. So if you're sitting down now, take your 2 fingers, touch your sitting bones. Sitting bones. Where are I? The question right now is, where am I? You're all sitting down. Maybe some of you are sleeping. We're coming back to this question. Where am I? Reach on the front. Touch your pubic bone. It's connected to the same bone that we just touched that we're sitting on. Okay, you got a tailbone that's back behind there. Where is that? Your iliac crest up on the side. This is all one connected bone that holds all of your vital organs for reproduction, for digestion, and everything in between. You're living your life in these bones. And congrats, you've just brought your attention back to the bones. From there, the rest of our life unfolds. We get the muscle movement, we get the rest of our daily life, but how often do we come back and check in with those bones? The reason, why are we talking about this in a music conference for AI? La pregunta más importante, the MIQ, where am I? Throughout this talk, I'll be asking questions, and I encourage you all to do the same. And if you have trouble coming up with questions, ask that simple question, ¿Dónde estoy? Regresas a tus huesos, empezamos de allá. Seguimos. Ok. ¿Solo eso? Oh, ok. Entonces, seguimos con la historia de la música. Let's keep going with the history of music. First trumpet. I play the trumpet, and so I'll phrase this a little bit around trumpets. The first trumpet came about in 1500 in ancient Egypt. This was ancient music. From there, it took us 3,000 years to get to a metal trumpet. And from then, another 400 years to get to like a mass-produced trumpet. So it took us 3,000 years to go from the first trumpet into a metal mass-produced trumpet. That was ancient. Then we got into electric music. 100 years later, we get the first electronic music. Then we get 50 years later, we get the Moog synthesizer. That's when we get like the big synthesizer culture here in Argentina. The 80s, we get the CDs. The 90s, we start getting auto-tune. This is the first time we're getting AI in 97. I was born in 96, so right before I was born, right after I was born. And then we get into digital. So here's where we are now. 2011, we get cloud technology that allows all of our music to get connected online. 2016, this was when I started building with Amazon Alexa and Google Assistant. You get the first AI assistant music generation. I was downloading open source repos from Microsoft that allowed us to generate music. In 2016 was when we first started getting AI music. We're now in 2025, so it's been less than 10 years. We're going from 3,000 years to get from the first trumpet to a mass-produced trumpet to 10 years between the first AI music and this talk that you're listening to today, just to kind of show at what point in the growth curve that we're at. Generative music keeps growing in 2019, 2023. Nico Madueri was just talking about Suno audio 2 years ago. 2024, we get more. 2025, where we are today. So if you feel behind, just know all the stuff we're talking about is less than 10 years old. So you're early, not late. Let's get into the actual meat of this. What is an agent? This is a screenshot from OpenAI that was released on March 11th. Today is March 14th, so that was 3 days ago. OpenAI just put out their agent SDK. This is the meta right now. Claude is putting out their agent SDK. OpenAI is putting out their SDK. Everybody right now is releasing tools to allow people to build agents. 6 months ago it was LLMs. How do we get people to use our LLMs? Now it's agents preparing for everybody converging onto AGI, general intelligence. Improvements. What is an agent? I like just how they define it. An agent includes easily configurable LLMs, Claude, OpenAI, Grok, with clear instructions, the personality, like you're a musician, you're a music manager, you're a record label publicist. SDK stands for Software Development Kit. Es una herramienta para los ingenieros de software para usar las bibliotecas de los LLMs. So an SDK is something that devs use, and we'll talk about it in a bit, how other musicians can use. Agents have handoffs, so you pass it from one to another. You'll notice that a lot of agents only have context on one small thing. I think McGee mentioned that earlier, is that we're going to get to specialized agents. And so these handoffs are important to be able to build one niche agent for me, but it can talk to a million other agents that all have domain expertise. Guardrails to prevent it from going out, and tracing to be able to view what's going on in its brain and and iterate. This is where we're at in the adoption curve. On the left, we have the growth of Onchain. This is L2Beat, which is a website where you can view all the traffic going on Onchain. You can see that since 2023, we've been massively up into the right in terms of traffic happening on-chain. And on the right, we've got the star history for Eliza, an AI agent repo that came out about a year ago. Up and to the right since November of 2024. We're now in March. Coming again back to questions, where am I? November, we saw this massive uptick. We're now in March, less than 6 months later. We are at incredibly high adoption that's going on right now. We have two different trends that are converging. A distribution technology of on-chain, which allows musicians to publish their music for free, permissionlessly, so that anybody can access it globally. And we have a creation technology, AI, that allows anybody to create things just by prompting it. Those two things converge together to create a lot of opportunities. And that's the intersection I'm building at, and a lot of us here are building at, because there's a lot of opportunities opening up. It's opening up these new creative paradigms, a concept called vibe coding, which is what I do on a daily basis. Who here knows what vibe coding is, has heard the term before? Who here identifies as a coder, like a traditional, you are a coder and you've been a coder? Who has done vibe coding? Who does not consider themselves a coder, but does vibe coding? Okay. Question for you is, why do you allow yourself to tell yourself that you are not a coder? A question for each of you. If you identify that you're not a coder, why do you allow that thought to live in your head rent-free? Why do you allow yourself to limit your own identity to say that you are not a coder? Is it because your parents taught it to you? Is it because you read a book that told you that? I challenge you to ask yourself that question and whether or not it serves you to say that you're not a coder. It's up to you to decide who you are and what you identify with. And if an identification does not serve you, it's up to you to let it go. Because now we're seeing Cursor, which is constantly shipping. It's an AI IDE that I use and most vibe coders use to just write out, build me a website so that I can publish my music for free. Build me a website so that my community can host and sell all of their music without an intermediary. Build me a video game that is on par with GTA 6 because I'm tired of waiting for the studio to come out with it. And people are now vibe coding entire video games in less than 24 hours. They have no idea how to code, and they're just writing down prompts that allows them to spit out video games, applications, platforms. One cracked porteño acá viviendo solo, tomando mate todo el día, está construyendo aplicaciones como así. This is vibe coding. So vibe coding is where we're heading. If you're a coder, I encourage you to get more in touch with your emotions and your questions, because the questions you ask are going to determine where the vibes go, where the AI goes. That's why I keep saying, come back, where am I right now? Where are my bones? What's the question that I'm asking? Because the question is going to determine how the AI hallucinates, which determines the output that you get. This is my secret recipe. This is what I do on a daily basis to build. Before, if you asked me a year ago, this was the only thing I did. This single point was my entire identity. I built in an IDE, I wrote code, I was given tickets, and I built it out. Now, I do way more things. And so AI and agents have not made it so that I just sit around and I don't do anything all day and the AI works for me. No, like I do more work. I use V0 to dream up new ideas. I write it down with a voice note to try to get it out of my head and get it onto paper. I use ChatGPT to expand that voice note into a full-fledged ticket. I take the ticket, I give the ticket to Cursor. Cursor builds out whatever it was I just imagined from a voice note. I use CodeRabbit, which reviews all the code that I just changed. I then stream. I wanted to stream this, but I didn't want to interrupt too much. I'm streaming everything that I do, and so long-form content is constantly being posted online with what I'm doing. Opus is an AI that then takes my long-form content, chops it up into small shorts for Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, Twitter, and then it automatically distributes all my short-form content. And so I've been here, present, disconnected from social all day, but I've had posts on every social platform going out, all posted by AI that's running my entire marketing department, that's running all of my social presence. My social media is on autopilot. I'm growing by thousands of followers a week on all of my platforms, and it's not because I'm spending more time on social. It's because I'm using the AI that's out there to empower me to do more with less. And then finally, Base and Coinbase are how I monetize. Publishing Onchain allows us and other creators to monetize without middlemen, which is, the goal is to help musicians get paid. And so we're talking about musicians. Cool, you're a coder. Sweets is a crack dev. That's awesome that he can code. But what are examples of musicians that are using this technology? These are some examples of musicians that I work with personally. I jump on live streams with musicians, an hour live stream where I take them. They have an idea, but they've never vibe coded before. We get on a live stream, and then we just work. Girl Crash is building an AI agent that represents her. So she's built this digital avatar. She knows how to make the digital avatar, but bringing it to life as an agent, she needed some help. She's using Eliza. Claire Moran wanted to build a website for the Eternal Garden from a musician, TK. She came to me and wanted to vibe code. So we spent an hour and she built an entire website with investors page, page to do her shop, and some other projects and all the music videos that TK's been working on. This is from Excelencia, a musician from Puerto Rico that I work with. I was supposed to have a call with him, but I was talking with Nico and Dagger, and so I accidentally missed that call. Excelencia is constantly going to V0, writing up an idea that he has, and then sends me the V0 because I'm his dev. But he has these ideas. He builds out a prototype in V0 by just prompting it, and then he sends me the working idea and the working code. I take the code and I implement it, but he's already built the code. I just took his idea. Leo Pastel at ETH Denver, February 27th, just a couple weeks ago. I worked with Leo last year at ETH Denver. I was his coder and he was the designer. This year, 1 year later, he's now vibe coding. Someone who did not identify as a coder, everyone's coding now. So again, the question for you, why are you allowing your identity to be limited by saying, I'm not a coder, I'm not a designer, I'm not X or Y? Do these limitations serve you? Does the identity you're giving to yourself serve the goals that you want to have? What is your goal? Do you know your goal, or are you waking up, scrolling on social, and allowing the AI and the socials to fill in your goal? Come back to your most important question. Come back to your bones of where you are right now, and allow that to inform your practice of where you're going. How am I doing on time? Am I okay? Okay. Un porteño, vibe coding. Who knows Guillermo Roche aquí? Okay, if you don't know Guillermo, I recommend you follow him. He built Vercel, he built V0. Like the vibe code stack was built by an Argentinian. Toda la tecnología que estamos usando para practicar vibe coding fue hecho de un argentino. He built Vercel, he built V0. He's constantly talking about vibe coding and guiding people through it. So if you want an Argentinian who like you can visualize as someone who's dominating not just Argentina, but the whole world, I recommend studying Guillermo. On Twitter, it's RauschG. And most of us are talking to Guillermo and working with Guillermo. These are a set of specific tools that we all use for building AI agents or using AI agents. I use Cursor to vibe code. V0 is more of like a prototyping tool, but some musicians will use that instead of Cursor. Suno is where you can go to generate music using only text prompts. Base is an L2 on Ethereum that I use to monetize, and there's a lot of grants, opportunities for creators to earn money by monetizing their content on Base. Recoup is an AI platform I'll go into a little bit more. That's one of the projects that I've been building out that is putting a record label as AI agents in the pockets of musicians. Claude 3.7 is the model I like to use. AgentKit is another framework built by Coinbase on top of LangChain. Eliza OS is one of the top agent frameworks that has tons of plugins, including music generation with Suno. Eliza actually has plugins for most of these other things. And then LangGraph is what I've transitioned to. I was using Eliza before. Recently, for all my agents, I've changed to LangGraph. The main reasons, Eliza is heavy. It's over 50 gigabytes, and so if you want to host it, you have to pay for that compute. LangGraph can be hosted on Vercel, and so I can build AI agents for free using LangGraph on Vercel, and I don't have to worry about any sort of hosting costs, and it allows me to iterate faster, all with JavaScript. I'm going to try to wrap up so we can get some questions. So once you've got all your tools, cool, you can be that cracked Argentinian that lives on his own, but if you're just building and you're not connected to a community, your idea is going to die. You all probably know someone that's smart and has built a great product, but they haven't made $1 million, most likely because they're not connected with the right people. These are 4 communities that are based here in Argentina, here in Buenos Aires, that are working directly with musicians to help them get connected with opportunities, get connected with other musicians, other creators, and constantly having events where you can meet up and talk about the state of all these technologies. Música W3, we've got 2 people here, Gonzalo and Sol, who run that community. Neutro Arts is a group of, I don't think we have anybody here from Neutro today, but it's another community of all types of artists, not just music. FutureX, we have he was just here, but I think Nico might have just left. Nico gave the previous talk. He wrote the book. He started FutureX. In Cultura C3, it's a group focused on Onchain that does a lot of social events. Dagger, I know I originally met you from C3. La pregunta que voy a dejar acá, which communities am I connected with that I am practicing sincerely at this intersection of AI and Onchain? ¿Con qué comunidad, con qué grupo de personas practicando sinceramente estoy conectado para practicar con un grupo en lugar de practicar individualmente? I'm going to keep trying to just plant little questions in your head, not to get an answer, but mostly just to allow you to connect that line between your conscious mind, what am I focused on right now, and the subconscious, stuff that's going on without us even knowing about it. Concluding, AI is a tool for empowerment, not replacement. The goal is to empower humans, not replace them. Opportunities are only there for those who are adapting. Those of you who had your hands up saying that you are already using it in the workplace, you've already positioned yourself well. So relax and just chill with your vibes. And then finally, the goal is to build a future where human creativity is enhanced by technology instead of defeated. I think now we're going into Q&A. And I don't know how much time we have. Oh, yeah. So this is one of the products I built, Recoup. It's a platform for musicians and for artists to grow kind of automatically using social and using AI agents. You can go on the site. I'll have a QR in the next slide. You can go on there, load up your socials. We train an AI agent on all of your socials and then automatically recommend how you can grow your socials using AI agents. And so these are some questions I'll leave for you, and we'll open this up to some QA depending on how much time I have. Some questions I'll leave you with. You can already read them in English, so I'll try to translate them into Spanish. ¿Cómo puedo posicionarme para usar las herramientas de IA para así que alguien diferente no va a tener el trabajo mío? El próximo. ¿Cuáles cosas estoy pasando lo más tiempo y cómo puedo usar IA para pasar menos tiempo con eso y más tiempo con mi familia? No terminé la segunda pregunta. Y el tercer, ¿cómo puedo construir herramientas para empoderar la gente en lugar de, no sé cómo se dice reemplazar la gente. Entonces, gracias por escuchar y no sé si tenemos tiempo para preguntas. Gracias a todos. ¿Cuánto tiempo tenemos?
Like 10 minutes.
Tenemos
So
mucho
if
tiempo.
people want to ask questions, yeah.
Hello. I would like to know, how do you see this this idea that a couple of years we started talking with NFTs, that maybe you could have like a share of a musician's career. Say, okay, I need money for my music, and if I do well, my community does well. Is there something that is possible to do around that, or it's gonna be about a specific album that you have, or very specific? It's like a kind of equity of an artist kind of thing that we can think of.
The first answer I have is creator tokens. Creators like Excelencia have been trying creator tokens. Hay un músico en el grupo de ustedes que están usando un coin, a creator coin, right? You're talking about like one coin. Pools? Pools. Oh, pools. There's a tool called pools, and a lot of musicians in Música W3. Y yo prefieres español o inglés? Okay. I'll continue in English. Okay. There's a lot of musicians in Música W3. They're using pools to create a creator token, and they're doing it that way. I think a lot of musicians are finding a mix. I don't think many musicians are saying this is the single token that I have. What I'm seeing right now is a lot more musicians doing what you said of like a project token, because it's less of a commitment and it gives them more flexibility in the future. Last cycle, I saw a lot of musicians doing a creator token where they said, get this token and it's an investment in me and my career, but you'll see a year later that they don't support it anymore. That you change your mind in the future. And so I recommend people, you make decisions that are easy to back out of so that you're not overcommitting, because the thing you don't want is to promise something and then oh shoot, I don't have money anymore to support this because I'm not getting any more income. ¿Otra más? Sí, esperé que vas a preguntarme algo. Vi tu expresión en todo y como que tienes una pregunta.
I thought your talk was amazing, really inspiring. I'm a bit concerned. I see like a generational gap that it's hard to fill. I worked with lots of musicians, particularly in New York, many of them Argentines. The anguish I feel in them is immense. I'm in contact, after many years, I'm still in contact with many, are close friends. The anguish I see, it's really immense. And your speech really gave me hope, but the question is, how can we approach them? How can we bridge that gap so that people above 50 can feel that they can vibe code?
Eso es una buena pregunta. ¿Cómo podemos ayudar a los músicos a entender la oportunidad que existe? Eso es que yo estoy preguntando a mí mismo cada día. How can we help musicians to see the opportunity and not the fear? The first response I have is you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. I can do these live streams all day, and people, if they want to see, they can see. But if you identify that I'm a musician, and I'm not a coder, and I'm not a designer, and I'm used to a manager telling me what to do, and I'm used to the manager hiring someone else to run my shows, and that's the only way I know how to be a musician, and if you tell me anything else, you don't understand the music industry. I can't change you. Like, okay, you've given me a statement and told me this is the reality. Okay, if that's the reality you're living in, that's the reality you're living in. I will not bother it. Because what I don't want to do is get in a fight with you about the reality that you're in. I can't change what you think. So instead of me trying to change what they think, I go on live as much as I can with other musicians so that if Sol or Gonzalo or other musicians see it, oh wow, Excelencia's coding, TK's coding. TK's a musician. How is TK? I'm a musician. Wait, I'm smarter than TK. If TK can do that, I can do that. And so instead of trying to bring people to forcing them to drink, I'm trying, whoever's willing to learn, whoever's open to dropping that identity of I'm not a coder, let me find them because there's less friction. Film and put it in public, live stream that experience and allow the people who see the light to be the inspiration for others. But that's a very challenging question and I agree. It's a ya sabes.
You want the controversial one or the basic?
Más controversia.
Okay. So, first of all, thank you for, talk about Musical W3, our community. We are very grateful with you. I am very in favor of AI agents and AI music. I also experiment myself and everything, and I think it's a good tool. But there is something that is worrying me, and actually, today someone interviewed me about this. This is crazy because I just came from that. He asked me something about, what do you think about the plan that Spotify has to use AI music generated to sell the music they are creating with AI and get the revenue? Like, what is going on? I mean, it's okay if musicians do it and they do AI music to create new songs or inspire themselves. But what if Spotify is trying to create all the music in the world and take 100% of the payments? Insane.
Estoy de acuerdo. Si Spotify está usando IA para reemplazar a los humanos, es posible, no es la visión donde quiero enfocar. Entonces, si Spotify está haciéndolo, no voy a apoyar con mi atención y con mis acciones, pero puedo cambiarles. No, creo que tu modelo ya está, como no voy a publicar por Spotify, no vas a usar las herramientas que no crees que sirven a los músicos y que no está alineado con los músicos. Y seguimos con la atención. Nuestra atención es toda nuestra energía y poder y enfocamos donde está creando el futuro que queremos crecer y cuando sabemos, okay, Spotify no está sirviendo a nosotros, lo dejamos en el pasado. Like I think that Spotify is on its track to die, and hearing that sounds like another nail in the coffin of they're not on the right track.
I think it's very interesting the view you have, and I think it's a mindset shift that is like a blue pill, red pill. That's it. You can only offer the option. But I see a lot of artists. They think they're entitled to whatever. They are the exception in the market, and that's a disadvantage because they are not. They are reacting. So they are seeing the threats, and they're not seeing the opportunities, because they're not used to. If you're not an artist, if you have a business, you have to get your customers. They have to pay. You have to do something that they want, and unless you do that, you're out of business. But if you're an artist, you say, okay, maybe I do what I want, and maybe someone gives me money, and that mindset, I think, is very dangerous for them. Because in this world, if they don't change their mindset, they'll be out of business, for sure. It's a mindset shift, what you're talking.
Estoy de acuerdo, 100%. Como Sebas dijo en principio, un gol de hoy es para como ver atrás del Matrix un poco. Entonces, si ya pensamos que sabemos todo de la realidad, no vamos a aprender nada. If we already think we know reality, then we're not going to learn anything. So the goal is, quite simply, come back to the bones. Just, like, it doesn't need to be profound. Where am I right now? Where am I? Are you here? Are you in your phone? Are you on social? Come back. Come back to your bones and allow that to unfold the rest of the practice. Gracias a todos.
Muchas gracias, Sweets.